leave this as a declaration of intent, so no one will be confused. 1. Sic vis pacem parabellum. Latin. The boot camp sergeant made us recite it like a prayer. Sic vis pacem parabellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. Number 2. Frank Castle is dead. He died with his family. Number 3. In certain extreme situations, the law is inadequate. In order to shame its inadequacy, it is necessary to act outside the law, to pursue natural justice. This is not vengeance. Revenge is not a valid motive, it's an emotional response. No, not vengeance. Punishment.
Right into this world, all alone. God takes your soul, you're on your own. The crow flies straight, a perfect line, on the devil's bed until you die. This life is short, baby, that's a fact. Better live it right, you ain't coming back. Gotta raise some hell before they take you down. Gotta live this life. Gotta look this world in the eye. Gotta live this life till you die. You better have soul, nothing less. 'Cause when it's business time, it's life or death. The king is dead, the life goes on. Don't lose your head when the deal goes down. Better keep your eyes on the road ahead. Gotta live this life. Gotta look this world in the eye. I gotta live this life till you die.
Good evening. Tonight, this arena here in Corpus Christi, Texas, was to have been filled to capacity with enthusiastic WWE fans. Tonight's storyline was to have been the alleged demise of my character, Mr. McMahon. However, in reality, WWE superstar Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their son Daniel are dead. Their bodies were discovered this afternoon in their new suburban Atlanta home. The authorities are undergoing an investigation. We here in the WWE can only offer our condolences to the extended family of Chris Benoit. And the only other thing we can do at this moment is tonight pay tribute to Chris Benoit. We'll offer you some of the most memorable moments in Chris's professional life. And you'll hear tonight comments from his peers, those here his fellow performers, those here who loved Chris and admired him so much. So tonight will be a 3-hour tribute to one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time. Tonight will be a tribute to Chris Benoit.
I'm sick of you ducking me, Undertaker. You know I'm the most dominant superstar in SmackDown, and you know you can't prove me wrong.
You think I'm afraid of you, little man? I can't count the number of superstars who have tested themselves against the dead man and come up short. If you insist on making this mistake, then your grieving family will have no one to blame but you when the inevitable occurs.
I just spoke to one of the other officers there. My name is Dennis Fagan. I'm a retired detective in New York City. I run the security for World Wrestling, and one of our wrestlers that lives down there is missing, and he told me to say we need a welfare check done.
Okay, what's the address?
130 Green Meadow Lane. The zip code is 30215.
All right, Dennis, what's your last name?
Fagan, F-A-G-A-N.
And what's his name?
Chris Benoit. It's spelled B-E-N-O-I-T.
Okay, and he's a wrestler?
Yes, what happened, he's a very religious gentleman, and yesterday he was supposed to show up at a pay-per-view and never got on the plane, never showed up. They've tried to reach his wife, Nancy. She doesn't answer. They've tried to call his house. It's out of character for him. So at 3 o'clock this morning, there was a message left for one of the other wrestlers, and basically it says, the dogs are in the backyard, the back door is open, goodbye. And that was it.
It was Bill Bush comes in the dressing room with Kevin and I, and he said, guys, I know what I'm going to do, but I just want to tell you. He said, Benoit, Guerrero, Perry Saturn, the blonde-haired guy that was a skateboard guy for a while that looked kind of good but never drew a dime. I don't know. Shane Douglas, and somebody else said, they're all going to leave if I don't fire Kevin and you and J.J. Dillon. I said, what? Said, quote unquote, Benoit said he can't trust his career in Kevin's hands. I said, Kevin, against everybody, put the world's title on him last night. And he said, well, I'm going to let him go, but I just want you to know the ultimatum that they just gave me. I said, really? So I walked out of the dressing room. I found Benoit. I took and sat his ass down in the middle of the arena where nobody was around. I said, let me tell you something, worthless. I won't use the language I did. But I said, Kevin Sullivan is your biggest pusher. I said not to put the world title on you. J.J. Dillon said not to put the world title on you. But Kevin is your biggest pusher. He did that on his own. I said, now here's the difference between Kevin and I. If you would have taken my wife, I would kick your ass every time I saw you for the rest of your life. That's what I'd do. But I said, now that you've tried to take my job because I'm Kevin's friend and you want to fire me, I said, I'll cut your fucking head off and put it on a stick in front of your house for all the kids to throw rocks at it. I said, I'm not the guy to mess with. He got up and I said, come on, let's roll. Tough guy, let's go. And I was 50 at something at the time, I don't know. And he ran off through the building, oh my God. About an hour later, here comes JJ. He walks in. He said, Mike, what did you do? I said, I didn't do anything. He said, the lady at Human Resources just called me and said that Benoit called her and that Mike Graham in the upper office had threatened his life. And I said, JJ, you've known me a long time. Would I do that? He said, oh, yeah. I said, no, wrong answer. I said, let me call the lady. She said, don't. I said, let me call her. So I call her. Hi, how are you? Mike Graham, yes, ma'am. I just had she wouldn't tell, like we don't know. Well, I just had a complaint from a wrestler that said you threatened his life. I said, here's the way it is. This is a very violent sport we live in. We're not selling candy bars and crap like that out here. I said, I've grown up. I said, all I told Chris was that if he had taken my wife and totally embarrassed me in front of my friends, my comrades, my everything, that I'd whip his ass every time I saw him. Now, can you blame a high-strung professional athlete for just making a comment like that to another high-strung? I said, that's the way, we don't go dancing. We don't go, we're kind of like dogs that nip at each other. And she said, that's what you said to him? I said, yeah, I told him I'd whip his ass every time I saw him, had he done that to me. Where Kevin didn't do nothing, you know. And he said, oh, well, yeah, I can understand that. So then when he didn't get her to do anything to me, and when Bill Bush wasn't going to fire Kevin, then that's when I called him the little band of midgets. Little band of midgets ran to New York, and I said, I just saved our company $2.5 million a year because they never drew a dime. Not a dime. Not a dime. I did the TVs. I had the TV people give me a minute-to-minute rating of all of our shows. I knew